talked about yesterday is, this is 2.3 day 2, yes? Okay, so when we talked about it yesterday, we talked about how the fact that if we had no remainder, it was a 0. This is going to tell you, this is the coolest thing about synthetic division, I think. If a polynomial f is divided by x minus k, that can also be plus, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. The remainder, r, equals f of k. So when I divided this polynomial over here by 6, and I got the remainder of 1,360, that is the answer I would get if I would have plugged 6 into that ridiculous polynomial. It allowed, if I plugged 6 into, it was 10x to the 4th minus 50x to the 3rd minus 800. Okay? If I don't want to plug 6 into that, and you? You want to take 6 to the 4th and 6 cubed? No. But when we did the synthetic division, we found that f of 6 was 1,360. That's the answer. So you can use synthetic division to evaluate functions. I think that's the coolest thing about it. Because I would rather do synthetic division than taking 6 to the 4th. Or just think about 18 to the 4th. Okay? I don't want to do that. So when we do synthetic division, whatever the remainder is what it is if I plug the number in. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove it to you on a better number. Okay, so I want -2. And so you notice this says x of -2. So I don't have to set it equal to 0. It's already there, right? Mm-hmm. So I want that. So we're going to plug in f of -2. That's what we would do, right? So we'd have 3 times -2 cubed plus 8 times -2 squared plus 5 times -2 minus 7. Yes? That's how we would do this? Mm-hmm. Okay, so 2 cubed is 8. And it'd be negative. So -8 times 3 is -24. -2 squared is 4. 4 times 8 is? 4 times 8? 32. And then I have -10 minus 7. Okay, so this is 34. And so that'd be 41. So -41 plus 32. And 9. -9. Okay, so I had to do all that work to get f of -2 was -9. Well, this rule just told me if I synthetically divided by -2, my remainder should be what? -9. So -2, 3, 8, 5, 7. Drop down my 3.
-7.
Thank you. Drop down my 3 because that one worked. Drop down my 3. So I get -6, -2, -4, 1, -2, -9.
Wow. Do not do the opposite side.
Nope. All you do is combine. All you do is combine. With synthetic division, you don't have to do any of that.
Okay, it was just that, like, last time we did it, didn't we, like, because, like, on the 6 that we did earlier, it was, like, x -6, we made it a +6.
Well, that was the factor. This came from the factor x plus 2. So they've already solved it for me. So be careful with that. That will cause people issues. If it says x equals -2, they already solved it for me, right?
Yeah.
If it's a factor, then I have to solve it.
Will they, like, on our test, will we be given some that are, like, in parentheses?
You'll have both. Yep. And on your assignment today, you'll have both. You'll have to know what to do with it. Yes.
So for the remainder,
theorem, all we're finding is the -9 and then we're done?
Yep.
We're not going on any further.
Yeah, because it'll say use the remainder theorem to evaluate x equals -2. So that's what we did. Now, if the remainder is a 0, that means -2 was 0, so that means it's a x-intercept, correct? That's why that works. That's why if there's no remainder, because of the remainder theorem, that's why we knew that would be an x-intercept or solution. Okay, so now it's going to tell you the factor theorem. The factor theorem that you already knew, we talked about it yesterday. The factor theorem says a polynomial f of x has a factor x minus k if and only if f of k equals 0. So if I divide and the remainder is 0, is that a factor in log division? Yes. In log division, it's a factor. In synthetic division, it is a x-intercept. It is a 0 because they're two. We've solved one for 0 and haven't the other. So if I want to find an x-intercept, I want to use synthetic division and get a remainder of what? 0. Now if it says show that is a factor and you don't get a remainder of 0, did you do something wrong? Yeah, because it says show it is a factor. So this says show that x minus 2 and x plus 3 are factors of the polynomial and find the remaining factors. This is why we need synthetic and long division, because I cannot factor, well I can, you cannot factor, you do not know a way to factor that. It's x to the 4th, do you? You don't have a way. This is your way to factor. They gave me 2 because it says show that, so that means it is, correct? Okay, so I'm going to set both of these equal to 0, yes? And get x equals what and what?
-2 and 3. No.
Negative,
+2 and 2.
yeah, positive 2.
So we're going to have to do it twice?
We're going to do it twice. Now, what we're going to do is called repeated synthetic division. We're not going to start the problem over. We're going to divide our answer. The reason for that is if I have, let's say I want to reduce 12 by 2. So I'm going to divide it by 2. What do I get? 6. And if I want to divide it by 2 again, I would divide it by 2, and I would get 3. I'm dividing my answer, yes? I'm breaking it down. That's what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'm going to do -3 first. I will tell you, some people format this differently. They don't put this side line. They put a box around the -3 and just put a bar at the bottom. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. Okay, is it in order?
Yeah.
My dividend is order. Do I need to add any zeros?
No.
Nope. So 2, 7, -4, -27, -18. And guys, really, after you write it down, stop and look and make sure you didn't forget a negative. On that last problem, if I would have forgot a negative, would it have worked? No. Okay, so you divide it and I'll divide it, and we should get the same answer. What should our answer, what should our remainder be? 0.
This is not what I got.
Me neither. But I definitely did my multiplication and division wrong.
Mine is bad.
Oh, yeah, I got a -6. Hey, yeah.
I got different numbers. I did it right, but
Oh.
I added them wrong.
I said 6 times 3 is 20.
Yeah, probably
I
not.
got an 8 instead of a 7.
Okay, so we need to work on some of our basic math skills, right? I always say if we could add, subtract, multiply, and divide, the world would be all good. We know these things, we mess them up.
negatives. Like, I'm
Okay, so you're gonna keep working at them so you get better. Every day you gotta get better at them, just a little bit.
So,
Okay.
that would be an x-intercept.
That would be an x-intercept. Did we show that was a factor?
Yes.
A factor is an x-intercept, yes? So now we're going to do this again. So this was x to the 4th, the 2. This 2 is x to the what?
Third.
Third. When we do it again, we're going to have x to the second. So we're just going to do this. And we're now going to divide by 2.
Wait, so we're just using what we already have?
Just using our answer, just like I did over here with the 12. I just kept dividing my answers. Okay, so bring down, you do it again and I'll do it again.
So when you have a number like under 1 on the second equation, are you gonna always subtract or always add?
You combine.
So
You, whatever the signs are, you do what the signs say. So you'll have 2, 2, so you would have 3.
Oh,
That is something wrong. Oh, so did I.
I got 52.
I got 0.
I got 2 zeros. Wait,
Oh shoot, I didn't carry down my 2. That's where I went wrong.
I did 2 times 2 for the first.
2 times 2 is 4, Miss.
Four.
Yeah.
Yes, I know, because I stopped. Right? Why did I stop?
Because you
To
knew
look
that
at
it
it.
wasn't
I knew
gonna work.
something was wrong. I'm like, I gotta go back and find my problem. So I stopped.
I was over here thinking I did it wrong.
Well, no.
Oh, come on.
I got 2 times 2
There, I got
I
it.
got 2 zeros. I got 0.
I got 0 0.
I got 1 0.
No, because
Well,
stop.
It really doesn't
Because that 0
Oh.
that's the
oh, we put
remainder, so
another
it's not
0
bad.
there?
Oh.
And then that one is still a remainder, so it's not even the second.
Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4, yes?
Yeah.
And then 5, and then 10, and then negative 3,
And be positive.
positive 3, and then positive 6. Okay, when you know what's going wrong, stop.
Wait,
Okay? But,
do we drop that last 0?
well, you have to show that's your remainder. You have to show 0.
So we don't do 2, 5, 3, 0, 0?
No, oh, the last 0. No. Because you don't want to do that because if you had 0, 0, the last term is always your remainder. And then you would make this too big of an exponent. Okay, so I had x to the 4th, x cubed, x what? Squared. So I now have 2x squared plus 5x plus 3, and do I have rules that I can factor this and find the remaining zeros? Yes. The whole point is to get down to where I can factor it or use the quadratic formula. So I need 2 times 3 is 6.
5 and 1.
So 5 and 1.
God, I hate doing
No,
Me too.
no.
2 and 3.
2 and 3
2 and 3.
because they're adding. So 2x and x and 3 and 1.
I absolutely hate doing that.
We need to
I
work.
cannot comprehend what you do to get that.
Yeah, I stopped.
And how you just.
How did you guys learn to factor?
We
I
didn't.
So,
I learned
No,
a
you
different
did.
way.
How were you taught to factor? However you were taught to factor.
Honestly,
I didn't understand it when we did it last
Okay,
year.
so we will spend more. You will factor almost every day in here. We are gonna before we go on to the next thing, we're gonna have to stop and do some more factoring. You
How
guys
did
did 30 problems. I'm gonna give you 100 problems.
How did you get 3 and 1?
Okay, we have 2 times 3 is 6. Yes.
Yeah.
The factors of 6 that add to 5 are 2 and 3. Okay, this is A, B, C. Correct?
Correct.
When I factor, I get the factors of A, and I think I've said this several times, and the factors of C. That's how you factor. Okay, this multiplication combined, the answer with that multiplication gives you your B. So the factors of 2, the only factors of 2 are what?
2 and 1.
2 and 1. Yes?
Yes.
And what are the only factors of 3? 3 and 1. So that gives me my 2 and my 3 that I was looking for, doesn't it? Now, if I put a 3 in the second quantity, I'm going to multiply 2 times 3, and that's not what I want, is it? I don't want it multiplied by the 2, so it has to go where? There, and the other factor is 1.
Why can't you just do the factors of 3 instead of taking 3 times 2 to get 6?
Because that's...
That's what I did on all my other
I would
factors and
say
stuff, and
that's
I got
what
that
I
right.
learned.
Okay, if that's how you learn, then do it. You have to get the same answer. If you don't get the same answer, then you're not doing it correctly. I'm not quite sure what you're asking, but if you're getting that same answer, I don't care how you're factoring.
Well, I just don't get why you have to take 2 times 3.
Well, because it's not always going to be 2 and 3. What if I put 4 here? I can use 1 and 4 or 2 and 2, and I don't want to play guess and check all day.
Fair enough.
Okay?
Yeah, I
So that's, I'm doing something, when I have 2,
Guys,
guys, when I have 2 and 3, I don't factor the way I just said. I personally just do it in my head. Okay? But when these numbers get more than just prime numbers, you have other factors to worry about, right?
Yeah.
So then doing this helps you with that. Because I don't want to be factoring all day. Anybody else? Not me. Okay. So I know that -3 and 2 are zeros. Now I need to add to that what? What's this one going to be?
-1.
-1. And this one I'm going to what?
3/2.
-3/2?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to subtract 3 divided by 2.
Yeah.
So now, as people that like things in order, what should be the smallest number we have up there?
-3/2.
-3. Isn't -3 the smallest?
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know it was negative.
Yep. And then what's next?
Then negative.
-3/2.
Then -1 and then 2.
And -1 and then 2. Now the value of that is now I can just place them right on my x-axis in order, can't I? And I have it all ready to connect.
So that's all we
What
do
with
for
this graph, what we're going, yes, that's all you're going to do, but what we're eventually going to do is graph this.
Oh, God.
Okay, it's x to the 4th. Is it even or odd?
Even.
Even. Okay?
So,
So it's even, so it's going to end where
the
up,
same.
up, because it's positive, right?
Yes.
And it's not going to bounce off anything because it doesn't have any double zeros, does it? So it's going to come down through -3, back up, down through -1, and back up.
How do we know how far it goes? Do we go?
That's for calculus. That's not this year. That's next year.
Doesn't matter which
I
one
won't
we're
be here next year.
dividing by. Or like say, could you put -3 in before you put 2?
I'm not.
If since we lined these up, oh, division, no.
You only need
No, it does not
No.
matter.
Okay, Ron just, girls, CJ. Ron just asked, does it matter which one I divided first? Could I done 2 and then -3? Does it matter? No. When I divide 12, can I divide 12 by 3 or 4 first? Does it matter? No. I'm going to get the same answer either way. Okay, so another one. Show that x plus 3 is a factor and find the remaining factors. Okay, so what do I have to do with my x plus 3? So it's going to be x equals what?
-3.
-3. This one they only gave me 1 because it started with cubed, so my answer is going to be what?
negative.
No, it started with cubed, my answer is going to be squared,
Yes,
and I can factor or quadratic formula that.
because it's not, you get rid of the first one.
You always go down a degree.
Yeah, when we're graphing it.
No, when we do synthetic division, your answer is always 1 degree less.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Okay.
But that's
Hey, do I have, is it in order?
Nope. No,
Yeah.
yes, but we
It's
need
in
it
order.
to
We
0.
need to add one.
We need to add a 0. So I have 1, 0, -19, -30.
Like some of us are still trying to figure it out.
How do you take notes?
Because I don't understand it when I take notes.
Okay.
Confused.
I would suggest then maybe you go home and take like definition notes from the videos so you make sure you have those because you will need them later on. Especially if like one day Mrs. Smith goes, oh, you can use your notes on the test today.
Will you do that
Will that
though?
happen?
When? She's not going to tell you if it's a surprise.
Hey, you guys got done yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can't zero it
Oh, I messed up.
unless I use quadratic formula. Do you want me to use quadratic?
Yeah, if you can't factor it, what do we have to use?
Darn it, I hate that.
Quadratic formula. It doesn't ever go away. Imagine that. So you should get x squared minus 3x minus 10. Did you get that?
Yeah.
And the factors at 10, guys, the factors at 10 with the difference of 3, you can't factor that?
You can.
7. No.
The factors of 10 that have a difference of 3.
2 and a half.
2 and
2 and 5.
What are you doing?
But I don't know how to write that out.
So confused.
Because if I take this times this, what do I get?
X squared.
No, you get 2x.
You know who else is working?
And this times this, what do you get? Negative 5. So negative 5 plus 2 is what? Negative 3. You guys will get better at factoring. You just haven't factored enough. And so I need to make you factor more.
So x equals
So x equals negative 3, because we started with it, right? Negative 2 and 5. Now, this is cubic,
So.
and it's positive. So it's going to end up and start what? Down. So that means I'm going to come here, 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 and here. When I see my numbers lined up, I see that. That's why I'm drawing it over the zeros. So you can see how I'm doing that. If anyone was a double, you do what? If it's a double zero, you do what?
Okay, what do you mean by double
Bounce.
zero?
Right?
Oh yeah, you would go through.
If I factored this and got x plus 3 for another factor, would negative 3 be a double zero?
Oh.
Yep.
So then that's when it bounces?
Yep, that's when it bounces. Double, any even zero, right? A double zero.
So it
Fourth
bounces off
zero.
of 0, 0? Or
It bounces off whatever. Like,
So like
that
that.
would be negative 3.
Okay, you lost me there.
Those
You
are
don't
what,
have to try to explain. It's okay.
yeah, if it's a
I'm good
what
where
if,
I'm at.
if it's a what if and you don't get it, let it go. Okay? Because somebody else asked a what if question, I'm answering that. I'm not ready for us to think too much about that. Okay, so this is a recap of what we just did. So stop and think before you just mindlessly write. Anything in a box does not have to be verbatim. It should be in your words which you understand. Okay? Verbatim means
Yeah.
word for word. Okay,
This is a recap.
this is a recap. Okay, so use the remainder and uses for the remainder and synthetic division. Okay, if there is a remainder, the first one says the remainder gives you R equals f of k. So if I divide by something, whatever my remainder is what I would get when I plugged it in. Right? That was the first thing I told you today. Okay. The second thing is if my remainder is 0, that means that x minus k is a factor. And factors lead to what? What do factors lead to? X-intercepts, also called what?
Zero.
Zeros. So we have been talking about this since yesterday, right? We've been talking about that remainder if it's 0 and what happens and what does it do. So this is just a recap of what we've been doing. If we don't get a 0, then it's not a factor, it's not an x-intercept. It's okay. Life is fine. Unless it says show that. Then if it says show that, we did something wrong. Let's keep it a few down. Thanks.
Are we done?
But I don't know. Somebody's surprised. There might be one more example, but I don't know. I was waiting. You should have all this written down already, correct?
Yeah. I had some of it.
Okay. Let me know when you guys are good. We're good? Okay, so show that
X minus 2 X plus 3.
factor of. Okay, so show it. Do it. All on your own.
No, we're just doing isn't it the same thing?
We already did this.
Is that what we did?
Yeah, we did this example earlier.
Okay.
No, we did it.
Oh, okay, no, stop. Stop, right now, stop. I always put this in here because, read those directions.
I see the word demon. That makes me.
It's demonstrate. No. Okay, it says write in this form. What is this form, guys?
Remainder form.
What we've been doing. What is x minus k? The divisor, right? What does Q stand for?
Quotient.
Which is the answer. What does R stand for?
Remainder.
The remainder.
Oh, let's just Yeah, the vision.
Okay.
Got it.
Every year I get people go, I don't even know what this direction told me to do. What does the direction tell you to do? Do what I told you to do in class, right? So do it. Oh, that's a square root.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty ugly. Okay, so we gotta, I will do that with you. I'm not gonna make you do that by yourself yet. No holes in order, we're good. Leave yourself big spaces.
I think if you're scared,
Okay,
leave room for over. No.
okay, so I'm gonna drop the 1, yes?
Yes.
1 times negative square root of 5 is
Negative square root of 5.
negative square root of 5. Okay, so can I combine these two things? No.
No.
So I have
We're
2 minus the square root of 5. And it is now a quantity, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to distribute, yes?
Oh no.
Okay, now just, I'm going to do the second term first. Because when I multiply the square root of 5 times the square root of 5, what do I get? 5. Well, they're both negative, yes? So negative and negative is a positive. And the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is the square root of 25, which is what? 5.
I don't get what square roots are. Like, I honestly don't.
Square root is
But
what
when you
times
do
itself.
minus 5,
No, because I have negative
so
and a
the answer
negative.
is 5.
No, we're not done. No. Okay, so we still need to take this times this, yes?
Yeah.
So it's going to be 2 times negative square root of 5, so it's just going to be minus 2 square root of 5. Okay? Now I'm combining. Can I combine anything with this negative
Yes,
2
the
square?
5, the negative 5.
Listen to my question. Can I combine anything with this 2 square root of 5? No.
The 2.
So I just bring down what? Negative 2 square root of 5. Now, I have negative 5 and 5 gives me 0. Okay, now I'm going to take this times this.
It would be negative 2. It's positive 2 square root of 5.
It's going to be negative 2 times
10,
the square root of 5 times the square root of 5 is
10, 25.
Negative 5.
It says
But
5.
it'd be 5.
5, and it'd be negative 5, so the answer would be 10.
You want to assign this?
Actually, wouldn't you do negative 10 plus 4?
So your remainder is going to be 6?
No, it's a negative and the negative is a positive. Yes, your remainder is 6. You don't have any square roots in your homework, I don't think.
Discombobulated my head.
But I wanted to show you that you could